I'm Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. Police shot and killed a man in South San Francisco after they say he fired into his neighbor's home and then began shooting at officers. It happened on Arroyo and Cuesta Drive at around 6 o'clock last night. No officers were injured. Two men facing felony charges for a string of convenience store robberies in Oakland, including hits on 3 gas stations and 2 7-Elevens. The Alameda County DA says the smash and grabs all happened within hours last week. If convicted, they could face more than 10 years behind bars. And George Kittle signing an extension with the 49ers. It's a 4-year deal worth $76.4 million. That deal includes $40 million guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. I'm Ann Makovic with The Minute.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Bay Area nonprofits facing an unexpected threat to their work on behalf of crime and abuse victims. We'll talk to them about what's at stake amid a federal funding freeze.
That's the hardest part is, can we still be there? The folks who work here at Youth Alive lead with passion.
Plus, we will introduce you to one Bay Area family that helped make history in the wake of the Vietnam War half a century ago.
When she came, it was just such a gift.
Really, really amazing to meet our first child.
And many San Francisco parklets have disappeared since the pandemic. How a new effort to bring them back could give small businesses building blocks for success. Thanks for joining us today. We are starting with First Alert weather, tracking a bit of a warm-up over the next couple of days, and then another chance of some rain. Meteorologist Jessica Birch has the forecast.
Well, it's a warm day for us today at our inland spots. We're topping off in the 80s and upper 70s all throughout the East Bay from Antioch over into Livermore. We hold on tight to mid 70s today up into wine country from Petaluma all the way up into Santa Rosa. And the moment you pass the Golden Gate Bridge into San Francisco, well, that's where we see a return to the 60s. San Francisco, Half Moon Bay and Pacifica all topping off in the 60s today. You continue to track south along 101 from Redwood City into the Santa Clara Valley. Well, that's where we see a return to the 80s in areas like Los Gatos with upper 70s into San Jose. It's going to be a very mild day for us today. And tomorrow we get a repeat of very similar temperatures too. Now the winds kick up as we head into the afternoon hours today. Just around dinner time hours tonight, within the next 5 hours or so, we're going to see up to around 25 mile per hour wind gust in San Francisco, Bodega Bay, and about a 20 mile per hour wind gust all the way into the Santa Clara Valley. Similar trend off into Solano County too. Now it's a partly cloudy day for us today. Tomorrow with those warm temperatures, we're going to see a lot more sunshine in the forecast. And that's kind of just a back and forth trend for us this week. It's not until Friday, heading into our Saturday forecast, where we get a quick splash of showers right around the corner as we head into this weekend with some cooler weather to accompany that too. Let's head over to the next 7 days real fast and start off in the Bay. I'll show you where those showers are going to lead up to, and then luckily as we head into Sunday it quickly vanishes just with cloudy skies, and then we have a warm up into next week too. But notice how it's kind of like a roller coaster. We dip down into the low 60s just to warm up into the upper 60s heading into this weekend's forecast and into early next week. Now you're going to notice those temperatures even more noticeable and more drastic as we head into our inland spots. Now we're talking about 80s today and tomorrow, back into the 60s heading into Saturday with those showers. We'll warm back up into the 70s as we head into next week. Back to you.
Police shot and killed a man in South San Francisco after they say he fired into his neighbor's home. It happened last night at the intersection of Arroyo and Cuesta Drive near the California Golf Club of San Francisco. Officers say that man began shooting at them after they arrived on scene. A neighbor told our Veronica Macias it might have all started because of a dispute over a tree.
Neighbors this morning here in the South San Francisco community saddened, they say, by the news that one of their neighbors was shot by police in this officer-involved shooting. It happened close to 6 p.m. yesterday when people were about to have dinner and bullets started ringing, police telling people to go back inside. You can see investigators are still here piecing together what happened close to 6 p.m. There's markers on the ground and glass from that police unit. And we also know that when police arrived, the suspect, a 60-year-old man, started firing the moment officers arrived. We're told he was armed with a handgun and a shotgun, according to South San Francisco police. Several neighbors on this street telling us that someone was taken away in an ambulance, believed to have been the neighbor, who was not seriously hurt, but who had argued with the suspect.
My understanding is they had dispute over a tree that was hanging. This is how foolish this kind of thing is when the outcome's like this, but a dispute over a tree that one of them cut back, which is his right, my understanding. And then somebody decided to settle it with a gun.
This morning, we're still working to confirm whether or not this started in a dispute between neighbors. The good news is no officers or no one else was hurt.
Today, President Trump marks 100 days since being back in the White House for his second term. CBS News polling shows his handling of two of his biggest issues, the economy and immigration, are getting mixed responses. More than 60% of Americans are concerned the president is too focused on tariffs and not enough on lowering prices. 53% of respondents feel the economy is actually getting worse. The Trump administration is claiming wins on the border, though. 56% of poll respondents approve of the president's plan to deport immigrants who enter the country illegally. But 49% like what he's doing with immigration as a whole. The president signed a new executive order aimed at sanctuary cities that allows federal agencies to publish a list of sanctuary cities that don't cooperate with ICE agents, setting the stage for possible legal action. We don't know which cities are included, but last week, a federal judge in San Francisco ruled the Trump administration cannot withhold or place conditions on federal funds because of a sanctuary city designation. The man fighting back against the Trump administration on behalf of San Francisco is this man, San Francisco City Attorney David Chu, and we spoke with him about his efforts.
Sanctuary policies are about promoting public safety, about ensuring cooperation and trust between local law enforcement and our communities. He is trying to illegally withhold billions of dollars of federal funding, as well as commandeer our local law enforcement police officers as his ICE agents, and that is not legal. It's not constitutional.
Now, Chu says San Francisco's sanctuary city policies do not interfere with lawful federal immigration enforcement. Groups that help victims of crime, abuse, and violence in Oakland just found out that the Trump administration is pulling their funding. CBS News has obtained a list of 365 federal grant programs that the U.S. Justice Department has halted. John Ramos spoke with the heads of two nonprofits in Oakland about the devastating impact to their work.
They say all politics is local, but the latest round of federal funding cuts is having a particular impact here in the city of Oakland. For a lot of nonprofits working in the area of criminal justice, the news last week was not good.
Yeah, so we got word about losing our federal funding last Tuesday. We lost a $2 million grant over 3 years that really supports one of our programs that we're most known for, which is Con the Crossfire.
Dr. Joe Griffin is executive director of a group called Youth Alive, a violence reduction initiative focused on young people in East and West Oakland. The Caught in the Crossfire program sends trained counselors to the actual hospital rooms of people injured in violent confrontations, both to ease the trauma, but also to try to calm a situation that could lead to retaliation on the streets.
And that's the hardest part is, can we still be there? The folks who work here at Youth Alive lead with passion, and they lead with love for communities that they serve, but that they're also from. And so to have this promise broken, I'm going to do everything I can to support my team, and my team's going to do everything they can to be there. But we needed our federal government to be there as well, and right now they're not.
Dr. Griffin says the 3-year grant that was canceled paid for 5 employees, as well as offering assistance to at-risk victims of violence for things like housing, job placement, or help getting back into school. He doesn't know what the loss of the program will be on the streets, but intends to find the money to keep his workers if possible. They haven't been as lucky across town at Impact Justice.
In total, we had to lay off 31 people.
Alex Buzansky created Impact Justice to try to prevent incarceration and help people during and after their release from jail. The organization was forced to shut down its national housing incubator, helping others generate housing for people being released from custody.
Devastating. I mean, if you follow the news, you knew something like this was coming. I think so many people are surprised by the speed and the extent of what has happened, but I can't say that the direction of what has happened came as a surprise.
But the organization is also the lead agency coordinating the bipartisan Prison Rape Elimination Act approved by Congress and signed by George W. Bush in 2006. The program sends workers into jails and prisons across America at a cost of about $4.5 million. But that ended last week.
And like so many of us who had our grants cut, these aren't speculative. It's not that Congress or the Department of Justice said, next year we're not going to issue an RFP in this area. Next year we're changing our focus area of what we want to do. They literally pulled the projects out from under the feet of the people who were doing the work.
There was no real explanation of why various grants were canceled, just that they didn't align with the current direction of the government, something that Joe Griffin found particularly frustrating.
When these grants go out, they are an initiative that originates in the government. They say that this is the goal that we have as a government. It felt unreal to get that letter. I've never seen anything like it. Right now, this work is a test in daily resilience. You know, this is a test of, what can we do to keep showing up for our community?
The Justice Department cuts won't be the last. More letters are sure to come in every corner of the federal government, all with the idea that the spending is wasteful, even if it was the government's idea in the first place.
The total amount of the canceled grants comes out to more than $800 million. The impacted organizations will have 30 days to file an appeal of that decision. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, San Francisco bringing back ankle monitors and searches without warrants for defendants waiting for their trials to start. The debate pitting public safety versus privacy.
We're talking about folks who have only been charged, are presumed innocent.
Plus, dozens of jobs and millions of tax dollars could be gone in a year. My one current employee of the Benicia Valero plant says he feels like he dodged a bullet.
It's like my heart and soul. I'm very passionate about what's going on here.
And the Bay Area played a key role in the efforts to save orphans in the wake of the Vietnam War. We're going to hear from one of them 50 years after leaving home as a baby.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
It's a warm day for us today in our inland spots, topping off in the 70s and 80s widespread throughout the bay. From San Francisco over into Oakland, it's a nice, mild one with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow's forecast is looking pretty similar. It's not until this weekend where we start to cool down again, with another chance of showers as early as Saturday. It's going to be a cool one for us heading into this weekend, at least for Saturday. We'll start to see that late weekend warm up around the corner, giving us sunny skies as we head into next week. But for now, our inland areas are holding on tight to 80s for today and tomorrow, cooling down to the 60s by this weekend.
The San Francisco Sheriff's Department bringing back a controversial practice to track criminal defendants who are out on bail awaiting trial. After more than a year of back and forth in federal court, the department is resuming its ankle monitoring program. As part of the conditions for release, defendants have to consent to searches without a warrant. As Lauren Toms reports, it's that part that's been the center of a legal fight.
It's a small device that sparked a large debate pitting public safety against the right to privacy. San Francisco Public Defender Daniel Harris says a key condition of the Sheriff's Department's ankle monitoring program requiring warrantless searches of participants goes against the presumption of innocence until proven guilty.
Given if the choice is jail or electronic monitoring, almost everyone will choose electronic monitoring, not because it's a good option.
San Francisco Sheriff Paul Miyamoto says the searches are an essential condition for public safety while allowing the defendants to await trial out of custody.
We want to give defendants an opportunity to receive services in the community that provide them with a chance to succeed while awaiting resolution of their case. And the bottom line, we want to make sure everybody is safe when we do so.
The sheriff's office announced plans to resume its electronic monitoring program after a federal appeals court ruled that warrantless searches are a reasonable safety measure. In the 2-1 decision, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals overturned a lower court's injunction that said the searches violate a person's privacy rights. According to the department, 98 people are currently participating in the monitoring program as they await trial. Before 2018, the program averaged 75 participants, but saw a surge in 2021 to more than 1,600 participants. But a 2022 report on the program questioned its effectiveness. It found that 60% of participants violated the terms of their release, and 1 in 5 participants were arrested again for a new crime while being tracked. Board of Supervisors President Raphael Mandelman says he welcomes the program's return, but not as an alternative to holding repeat offenders.
That, there are people who need to be held and need to be held to account and should not be released unless we're sure we can safely do it. And for some of those people, the ankle monitor may add an additional level of safety or certainty, may make it, slightly more likely that there's a positive outcome, but we should not be using them to the same extent that we were before.
To supporters, it's a compromise, allowing for less crowded jails and necessary safeguards to protect victims, witnesses, and the community.
This is about protecting families from violence. It's about making sure suspected drug dealers can't go back out and continue to commit crimes while they await trial.
Harris hopes to see more efforts to address the root causes of crimes.
If we don't treat those problems, those needs, we're just putting a Band-Aid on a problem, a very temporary Band-Aid. If we want to actually improve people's lives and becoming self-sufficient and no longer involved in the criminal legal system, we need to do things that we know work.
And the debate marches on as every step is watched for those being monitored.
Well, this legal battle is almost certainly not over yet. City officials told Lauren they are expecting an appeal to last week's Ninth Circuit ruling. Police in San Jose showing off their high-tech crime-fighting tools. The department just unveiled its real-time intelligence center that will allow SJPD to monitor and analyze crimes as they happen by connecting to live video feeds from traffic cameras throughout the city to give information to responding officers. Yesterday, Police Chief Paul Joseph talked about those cameras and how they can play a critical role when trying to solve a crime.
If you think about what is a camera is a witness. It's nothing more, it's nothing less, but it's a witness that doesn't have bias. It's a witness that doesn't have a faulty memory. It's a witness that can be verified. So all we're really trying to do is get the best witness information possible when a crime occurs.
San Jose police also invited the public to connect your own personal security cameras to their system. Center is going to be staffed with 6 or 7 people to start, with the goal of achieving 24/7 monitoring to allow for consistent information gathering. You might remember just a few weeks ago, we got a look inside San Francisco's own real-time investigation center. The SFPD has been using drones, license plate readers, and other technology. Police Chief Bill Scott credits the program with a 20% year-over-year drop in crime over the first 3 months of this year. Felony charges have been announced against a man suspected of attacking 2 seniors at an Oakland Chinatown supermarket. If convicted, 30-year-old Jeremy Morton could face up to 19 years in prison. The attack happened earlier this month at One Key Supermarket. Part of it caught on security video. A store employee was shoved into a shelf and then hit repeatedly by the attacker. That apparently came after the employee asked to inspect the man's bag before he entered the store. Fortunately, there was a good Samaritan there, Tom Jensen. He stepped in to stop the attack, and a few days later, the store's owner joined the Oakland Chinatown Improvement Council and representatives for city leaders to honor Jensen. They offered to cover his meals at the store, and they gave him $1,600. Big changes might be on the way for a small Bay Area city. Valero said earlier this month that it could shut down its Benicia refinery. Now, that wouldn't happen until April of 2026, and for now, it's not a done deal. But people who live there are already worried about the future. Right now, the Bay Area has just 5 refineries. They're all in Contra Costa and Solano counties. The 2 you see labeled in green switched to renewable fuels, so only 3 refineries are still producing oil: Chevron in Richmond and the Martinez Refining Company in Valero. Now, the Benicia community is coming to terms with the news. Valero Energy Corporation is the city's largest employer, and if they end up closing that plant, many current workers there don't know what they'll do next. Our Amanda Harry spoke with one of those people about the news and what's happening at the refinery.
The Valero refinery has been a part of the Benicia community for more than 50 years. For the last 28 of them, Mark Felsosi has operated cranes at the facility.
This is like my heart and soul. I'm very passionate about what's going on here. There's good people in there. There's good people that are going to lose their jobs.
Felsosi says he's dodging a bullet. He already made the decision to retire this summer before Valero Energy Corporation's notified them that they're planning to either idle, restructure, or shut down the plant altogether. But many of his coworkers are still in limbo.
It's a family atmosphere in there. We've all seen our children grow up. There's generations in there now working. Most of the people will either uproot and go to the other Valero refineries, or they'll go work throughout the state elsewhere.
Valero is offering many of the employees jobs elsewhere, but Felsosi is concerned with the push towards green energy. There may not be enough work to go around.
Some people just are going to be out of a job because there's not enough places to fill the gaps.
And he says transitioning to green jobs isn't always realistic, financially or based on skills.
If you want to go and do a greener job, they're out there, but what do they pay? Again, as I stated, apples to oranges. And you just have to do a quick Google research and you can see the difference between a refinery worker and someone who does the solar panels and what have you.
The refinery produces just under 10% of the state's gasoline, which could have an impact on gas prices. But it will have a bigger impact on Benicia. The refinery is Benicia's largest employer, as well as the city's single largest source of tax revenue. Mayor Steve Young says he understands that people may be worried about what this means for the city.
We're going to certainly survive this. We may not thrive as much as we had planned in the near future. I think it's hyperbolic to think this represents the end of Benicia as we know it.
But Felsosi is unsure what Benicia looks like without it.
And it's the ripple effect, this beautiful community. I raised my children here. You don't have that tax base anymore. You don't have the firemen, you don't have the police, you don't have the securities. They just disappeared. That's what's going to happen here. Go down First Street, talk to any of the merchants. They're going to tell you the same fears.
So he tells Amanda that he is going to remain hopeful that there might be a way to save the refinery over the next year. We'll be following that. Still ahead, this week marks 50 years since the end of the Vietnam War.
It was just such a defining moment in our lives.
Yeah, we are going to meet the Bay Area couple that took part in a remarkable effort to evacuate orphans from the region and their daughter, who made that treacherous journey as a baby.
Here's what it's looking like for us today and tomorrow. Clouds rolling in from the north. Still dry conditions, though. It's a dry day today, tomorrow, lasting into this weekend's forecast, at least until Friday afternoon. It's not until Saturday morning where we see a quick shift. We have some showers rolling in from offshore, and then we dry up fast as we head into Sunday. And we're also going to warm up fast, too, as we head into our Sunday setup. Take a look at our inland spots. I mean, we're holding on tight today to the 80s, today and tomorrow. We jump down to the low 70s as early as Friday, and then we're down into the 60s. This is that contrast that I was telling you about from today all the way into this weekend. Big differences on the way for us, with showers right around the corner to kick off the weekend, partly cloudy skies to wrap up the weekend, heading into early next week. We'll see sunnier skies as we head into Monday of next week, too, with 70s returning into the forecast for us. You make your way over into the Bay, well, pretty much the exact same trend, including the showers on Saturday, just a little bit cooler to kick it off and a little bit cooler to finish, too. We're in the low 70s today, upper 60s as we head into our forecast Wednesday and Thursday. We'll dip down to the low 60s into this weekend. So keep that in mind for any outdoor activities. Maybe you have plans to get out there and check out some of our local parks. If you are going to do that, make sure the umbrella is ready to go for Saturday. You can ditch it as early as Sunday. We'll keep you updated on that warming trend as we head into next week, too. In all honesty, though, this is a great forecast and pretty on par for where we should be for this time of year.
It was 50 years ago this week that the bloody and brutal Vietnam War came to an end April 30th, 1975. North Vietnamese forces took control of Saigon, the capital of the South. That prompted an extraordinary effort to evacuate children from the region, many of them winding up here in the Bay Area after a daring mission dubbed Operation Baby Lift.
Okay, Wayner, thank you very much. And let's check right back in with Andy Park and Lynn Joyner at the Oakland International Airport as they continue to bring those 57 children off of that plane. As you can see, they're coming on down. And Andy, if you can hear me, you're back on live television again.
50 years ago, an historic event unfolded late at night, live on Channel 5.
I am right at the foot of the stairway now, and you can probably see that little one who just came down. The people going up, again, are the blanket brigade. They're taking up blankets, they wrap a child in it, and bring them down.
On board this World Airways plane, dozens of young children airlifted out of Vietnam. Among them, a baby girl promised to Ralph and Marilyn Norberg.
She looks like a healthy, normal child.
The Norbergs 50 years ago and the Norbergs today.
It was just such a defining moment in our lives because we'd wanted to have children and we're having a hard time. And when she came, it was just such a gift.
It's really amazing to meet our first child and get to know her.
From the airport, the children were loaded up on a bus and driven to San Francisco. The vast majority were processed here at the Presidio Army Base in this building known as Harmon Hall. The Presidio switchboard was swamped with compassionate calls.
Calls offering everything from clothes and blankets from Arkansas to people from Alaska and Brooklyn who want to adopt children.
But it was quite a mob scene because we had press everywhere.
When the Norbergs first met Wendy,
She was actually very, very easygoing.
She was adorable. She still is.
Wendy Norberg 50 years ago.
Happy birthday, dear Wendy. Happy.
And Wendy Norberg today, celebrating her 51st birthday.
I view myself definitely as being American.
Wendy went back to Vietnam 10 years ago and saw her orphanage, but says the Bay Area is home. As for Operation Baby Lift, she doesn't dwell on it.
I don't really feel like I'm part of it. I just every 10 years get reminded.
We're just so proud of her, and excuse me, it's been such a time. She's such a wonderful family member.
Wendy is an accomplished photographer. Most recently, she's captured images of Bay Area activism, people striving to change the world.
I'm not necessarily picking a side. I'm documenting a moment in history.
Around us are just a swarm of volunteers, doctors, nurses.
Wendy's historic journey was captured by Channel 5. Now, 50 years later, she's on the other side of the lens. Well, tonight at 5 on our evening edition, we're going to meet the girl in this remarkable photo, greeting her father at Travis Air Force Base after he spent 5 years as a prisoner of war. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, as President Trump marks 100 days in office, why the new leader of our neighbor to the north just issued a warning to the U.S. Plus,
you know, it could be the difference of people staying open or closing.
President Trump's tariffs impacting local businesses in the Bay Area. We're checking in with a local chocolatier who says things are not looking too sweet right now. I'm Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. Police shot and killed a man in South San Francisco after they say he fired into his neighbor's home and then began shooting at officers. It happened on Arroyo and Cuesta Drive at around 6 last night. Police say no officers were injured. The RSA Cybersecurity Conference underway at Moscone Center. Today, the head of U.S. Homeland Security making an appearance on the keynote stage. Other security experts will be there to discuss the latest tech and evolving threats. The conference runs until Thursday. And the Warriors now just one win away from the second round of the playoffs. The Dubs beat the Rockies 109-106 last night, taking a 3-1 series lead. The game also saw the return of Jimmy Butler. Warriors have a chance to close out the series tomorrow in Houston. I'm Ann Makovic with The Minutes.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, it's a warm day for us today at our inland spots. We're topping off in the 80s and upper 70s all throughout the East Bay from Antioch over into Livermore. We hold on tight to mid 70s today up into wine country from Petaluma all the way up into Santa Rosa. And the moment you pass the Golden Gate Bridge into San Francisco, well, that's where we see a return to the 60s. San Francisco, Half Moon Bay, and Pacifica all topping off in the 60s today. You continue to track south along 101 from Redwood City into the Santa Clara Valley. Well, that's where we see a return to the 80s in areas like Los Gatos with upper 70s into San Jose. It's going to be a very mild day for us today. And tomorrow we get a repeat of very similar temperatures too. Now the winds kick up as we head into the afternoon hours today. Just around dinner time hours tonight, within the next 5 hours or so, we're going to see up to around 25-mile-per-hour wind gust in San Francisco, Bodega Bay, and about a 20-mile-per-hour wind gust all the way into the Santa Clara Valley. Similar trend off into Solano County too. Now it's a partly cloudy day for us today. Tomorrow with those warm temperatures, we're going to see a lot more sunshine in the forecast. And that's kind of just a back and forth trend for us this week. It's not until Friday heading into our Saturday forecast where we get a quick splash of showers right around the corner as we head into this weekend with some cooler weather to accompany that too. Let's head over to the next 7 days real fast and start off in the Bay. I'll show you where those showers are going to lead up to, and then luckily as we head into Sunday it quickly vanishes just with cloudy skies, and then we have a warm up into next week too. But notice how it's kind of like a roller coaster. We dip down into the low 60s just to warm up into the upper 60s heading into this weekend's forecast and into early next week. Now you're going to notice those temperatures even more noticeable and more drastic as we head into our inland spots. Now we're talking about 80s today and tomorrow, back into the 60s heading into Saturday with those showers. We'll warm back up into the 70s as we head into next week. Back to you.
President Trump touting his first 100 days in office as historic, but new CBS News polling shows that his handling of two of his biggest issues, the economy and immigration, are getting mixed responses. Natalie Brand has details from the White House.
President Trump closed his campaign in battleground Michigan and returns tonight to mark 100 days.
After building the greatest economy in the world in his first term as president, President Trump is in the process of doing that all over again.
The trip to the key automotive hub comes as the administration could be easing tariffs on the auto industry. CBS News has learned the president will sign an executive order today easing the 25% tariff for steel and aluminum for automakers, while the separate tariff on imported cars is expected to remain in place.
The goal here is to bring back the high quality industrial jobs to the U.S.
The latest CBS News poll shows President Trump's approval of handling the economy has declined in recent weeks, and more than 60% of those surveyed believe he's too focused on tariffs, not enough on lowering prices.
We're the largest producer of truck frame assembly lines in North America.
Joe Perkins, whose company provides technology systems for the automotive industry, says he's hopeful for clarity.
How long can I maintain current cost structure? That is something that keeps me up all night and literally something that I have to think about every single day.
Tariff negotiations are underway with dozens of U.S. trading partners, but Canada's new prime minister issued this warning.
Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says progress has been made in talks with a number of Asian trading partners.
Canada's new prime minister says he's going to sit down with President Trump soon to discuss the relationship between the two neighbors. Surging cocoa prices worldwide and the ongoing trade war between China and the U.S. have been impacting local chocolatiers in the Bay Area. Kenny Choi reports on the double whammy and how small businesses are navigating this quickly changing and challenging landscape.
For 24 years, Wendy Liu, who started making chocolate as a teenager out of her family kitchen, has been honing her craft and growing her small business as a chocolatier in San Francisco.
Finally, 11 years ago, was able to open up this space here on Folsom Street where we manufacture all the chocolate. We ship all the chocolates from here.
Liu says over the last 6 months, her supplier raised the price of cocoa, one of the key chocolate ingredients, by 20%, then 40%, and then an additional 20%. She resisted for as long as she could, but had to raise prices for the first time in 3 years.
I've been noticing that consumers are still purchasing, but spending a lot less.
The price of cocoa surged in 2024 and this year too. Analysts say the global shortage is driven by climate change and severe weather disruptions. Joseph Balagtas is a professor of agricultural economics.
Wholesale prices of cocoa beans were $9,000 US dollars a ton. That's up 4.5 times from 3 years ago.
Rising cocoa prices, plus the impact of tariffs on goods from China, like the packaging Sokola chocolatier uses, have made the immediate road ahead bumpy.
We don't know if there's going to be any savings now because of tariffs, and we haven't seen what that's going to look like. And so it's hard to say, that we are going to raise our price by X, Y, or Z at this moment.
Liu is absorbing as much of the additional cost as possible, and profit margins have thinned. She has avoided layoffs at her Folsom Street and SFO location in Terminal 3, but may have to cut hours for her 10 employees if sales continue to slow down.
It's really important to continue to support small businesses in our communities. It could be the difference of people staying open or closing.
Liu says many chocolatiers are desperately trying to stay alive, and that asking for support is better now before it's too late.
Ivory Coast is the world's biggest cocoa producer. President Trump says he plans to impose a 21% tariff on products from that country, the highest amongst West African nations. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be back in the Bay Area this week. She's going to deliver her first major speech since losing the presidential election. She'll be giving the keynote address at the 20th anniversary gala of Emerge America. That is a candidate training program that backs Democratic women. This comes as she weighs a possible run for governor. A source tells CBS News she's going to make a decision on that by the end of summer. The gala is set to take place tomorrow evening at the Palace Hotel. Coming up next, they served as a lifeline for a lot of small businesses during the pandemic, and they were pretty fun. But these parklets aren't cheap to keep up, and many of them have since disappeared. Now, one business owner inspired by Legos is trying to work around the red tape.
We throw community parties and block parties on the street, so the cool thing is it's so versatile.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
It's a warm day for us today in our inland spots, topping off in the 70s and 80s widespread throughout the bay. From San Francisco over into Oakland, it's nice, mild one with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow's forecast is looking pretty similar. It's not until this weekend where we start to cool down again, with another chance of showers as early as Saturday. It's going to be a cool one for us heading into this weekend, at least for Saturday. We'll start to see that late weekend warm up around the corner, giving us sunny skies as we head into next week. But for now, our inland areas are holding on tight to 80s for today and tomorrow, cooling down to the 60s by this weekend.
Remember the rise of parklets, those little outdoor dining areas on the street that really took off during COVID? More than 1,000 of them were sprinkled across San Francisco at the height of the pandemic, but now only about 300 remain. As Kira St. Cyr reports, a new approach inspired by Legos could soon spark a revival.
Hi, how can I help you today?
Leah Sabato's coffee shop, Excelsior Coffee, was almost perfect.
All in the wrist.
It just needed one thing, an updated parklet.
When we were looking at updating it to today's laws, that's when we realized it was going to be $60,000. It was probably not going to happen.
But she still got what she wanted for $375 a month. Leah is the guinea pig in SF New Deal's Building Blocks project, which aims to give small business owners access to parklets for a fraction of the cost. Simon Bertrang, the executive director, says businesses only pay a monthly fee.
So in the pandemic era, people could put them up for $10,000 to $20,000. There are parklets throughout the city that have costed upwards of $100,000.
Parklet use exploded during the pandemic.
There were no fees and there were very few regulations.
But new regulations made upkeep and construction costly. Of the 1,000 parklets that popped up in 2020, only 327 of them are in compliance. Bertrang is trying to boost that number.
The selling point for the business owners is that we become the experts in the compliance issues and how to meet ADA codes, how to meet the fire code.
Leah will keep an eye out for maintenance issues.
So, here it is.
But most of the responsibility falls on the program. An easy trade-off, she says.
It gives us the forward thinking to hopefully extend our hours, expand our menu. And then, we throw community parties and block parties on the street. So the cool thing is it's so versatile that I think we could, and elevated that I feel like we can use it as a stage too.
Leah's parklet is the building block of a larger goal, bringing back community.
Although it is ours, it still serves as a public parklet.
While her parklet might be the first, she definitely won't be the last.
The SFMTA says more than 200 new parklets are already working toward approval. Coming up, streaming on CBS News Bay Area, in East Bay City's cash-strapped public schools are in need of some major tech support. We're going to introduce you to some students who are stepping up to help.
It's satisfying knowing that I have the skills and capabilities to just do this.
In a school district facing some major budget problems, which most of them are these days, some tech-savvy students are using their skills to try to be part of the solution. This is in West Oakland. A high school found a unique way to fix thousands of school-issued laptops that were all on the fritz. Our Itai Hodge shows us how they are bringing them back to life while also saving big bucks.
At McLyman's High in West Oakland, most students work on their laptops. David Anderson's work is his laptop.
See how it's kind of blurry and stuff? That means it's either the bezel or the camera's broken.
David is part of a program called the Tech Repair Hub. Sounds official until you realize it's run by teenagers armed with tiny screwdrivers and a mountain of busted Chromebooks. No Genius Bar, no waiting room, just sticky notes that read broken display and missing hinge thing. And students who somehow know exactly where to begin. Take Gavin Armstrong. A year ago, he was just using a school laptop. Now, he's the reason why everyone else's still works.
It's satisfying knowing that I have the skills and capabilities to just do this.
It all started in 2021 when the pandemic pushed classes online and school laptops to their breaking point.
Slide it in.
With no budget for repairs, the district did something unorthodox. They handed the tools to the students. It was a long shot, but it clicked. And it's not just extra credit. Students here earn $18 an hour. Samantha Nunez, who oversees the program, says in the last school year alone, these students have fixed close to 1,000 computers, saving the district more than $200,000.
Were there any worries that kids might not be able to do it?
Yeah, there was definitely worries and concerns, like, do they have the capacity to fix it, right? And turns out they do.
There's so much technology waste.
Colleen Piper, the school's college and career counselor, says other districts are now calling from across the country. But the biggest impact, she says, can't be measured in numbers.
Learning, honestly, just the responsibility of holding down a job, communication skills.
As for David, he's now eyeing a career in computer science.
Is it fun to take something apart and figure it out?
Yeah, get your mind thinking different possibilities and ways you can figure out how to fix something.
And while the job was to repair computers, along the way, they found something else worth rebooting, their own potential.
During summer break, the Tech Repair Hub employs 15 interns who work 30 hours a week. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.